Hi, I'm James Harbeck, and today's pronunciation tip is 10 German words that English speakers might find handy.
Gemütlich. Sitzfleisch. Korinthenkacker.
Sehnsucht. Weltschmerz. Kummerspeck.
Schnapsidee. Verschlimmbessern.
Fremdschämen.
Backpfeifengesicht.
Our first word is gemütlich.
Gemütlich.
It comes from Gemüt, meaning mind or heart or soul, and lich, which is a German suffix that means like or ish or whatever. And so literally you might say it means mindful or hearty or something, but actually it means homey, cozy, comfy. Gemütlich. Now, if you're an English speaker, you won't necessarily have that and that sh in your phonemic repertoire. How do you approximate it using English phonology? Well, we in English often render the U as an U or an U. Sometimes you will hear people render it as an E. I'm not really in favor of that. The sh is a CH, and traditionally English speakers have rendered German CH as K because they're thinking of the Ch, the back CH. It's like an Ach. Ach, du lieber Augustin. But this is the front CH, the CH that comes near I and E and U, and it's like sh, and it's a lot closer to English sh. Now, sh is a separate sound in German, but so is K, so never mind. The point is, if you say gemütlich, gemütlich? No. If you say gemütlich, also no. If you say gemütlich, well, that's closer. If you can't actually get around to saying gemütlich, then gemütlich is all right. It's comfy, it's cozy, it's gemütlich.
Sitzfleisch.
Sitzfleisch, from sitzen, meaning seat, and Fleisch, meaning flesh or, meat. Sitzfleisch means the ability to sit still. What it really means is stick-to-itiveness, the ability to stick your butt in that chair and just get going. So if you have the Sitzfleisch to do something, that means you have the ability to put in the long, hard hours that are required to make that thing happen. And there is absolutely nothing difficult about this for English speakers. Sitzfleisch. We might look at the S that's at the beginning of the word and think, well, in English, S doesn't get voiced just automatically at the beginning of a word. And so we might want to say Sitzfleisch. Well, you can do that if you want. But if you're trying to approximate the German sound, you say Sitzfleisch.
Korinthenkacker.
Korinthenkacker. This is from Korinthen, meaning current, these little things, black currants, and kacker, which means shitter, somebody who shits. So blackcurrant shitter. What it means is a nitpicker, somebody who fusses over little details endlessly. I'm not entirely sure how that becomes current shitter, but I suspect it might have to do with being really tight-assed. This is not an unduly difficult word for English speakers to say, but you might get thrown off by the fact that the Germans say Korinthenkacker. You might want to say Korinthenkacker, but that's not actually right unless you're from England, where they delete the R typically, or any other place, Australia, whatever, where they delete the R at the end of a word after a vowel, Korinthenkacker. But in North America, those are two R's, and we don't have a phonological rule that says change the R in different places. We just say Korinthenkacker. If you're trying to say it like an Anglophone, you say Korinthenkacker. Or you can just say Korinthenkacker, just to be, precise, specific. Pick on those details.
Sehnsucht.
Sehnsucht, from sehnen, meaning yearn, long for, and Sucht, meaning sickness, addiction. And it just means pining away, yearning, not necessarily for an object either. You can just yearn for yearning. It can be an objectless longing. Just a state of, oh, you know? Now, as I mentioned, the CH, when it's a back CH, in English we usually render as K rather than Ch. So if you don't want to say Sehnsucht, you can say Sehnsucht. And if you look at that S again, do you want to say Sehnsucht? Well, I don't recommend it personally because that just sounds different. But, you know, depends on what you really want.
Weltschmerz.
Weltschmerz. A lot of you know this word, Weltschmerz. Some of you will even say Weltschmerz. I mean, I don't recommend it, but you understand that W is V in German and W in English, but it's not hard to say, Weltschmerz. It comes from Welt, meaning world, and Schmerz, meaning pain, or in this case, you know, weariness, world weariness. Weltschmerz. Weltschmerz. Or Weltschmerz, if you're an Anglophone.
Kummerspeck.
Kummerspeck. This comes from Kummer, which means grief, and Speck, which is usually translated as bacon, although if you're an aficionado of cured meats, some of us are, you know that German Speck is not the same as English or American bacon, but it is the same part of the pig, more or less, cured and so forth. And so you could call it grief bacon. What does it mean really? It doesn't actually mean the bacon that you eat when you're sad. It means the pounds you put on as a result of having eaten bacon and whatever else when you're sad. Kummerspeck. Now notice that that S becomes a sh before the P. In German, that's normal. Steinspeck, things like that. In English, we don't normally do that, so it's a question of whether you want to say Kummerspeck or Kummerspeck. That depends again on how fussy you want to be about it.
Schnapsidee.
Schnapsidee. I love this one. I've had a few. Schnapsidees, I've had a few. Schnapps. In English, schnapps is usually thought of as a peppermint liqueur, but in German it's a broader thing. Booze. Idea. Schnapsidee. What is it? It's a booze idea. It's a drunken idea. It's an idea you get when you are several drinks in that seems brilliant at the time, but to any sober person seems inadvisable.
Verschlimmbessern.
Verschlimmbessern. This comes from verschlimmern and verbessern. Verschlimmern comes from schlimm, meaning bad. Verschlimmern means make worse. Besser means better. Verbessern means make better. So verschlimmbessern means make bad better, to better bad. What it means is, in an attempt to make something better, to make it worse. These improvements, these disimprovements, these things that people do that they think they're making something better and they're just making it worse. I'm sure we've all encountered this. The only hitch on this word for English speakers is the R thing again. It's Verschlimmbessern would be our thing. Also note the V is always F in German. It's never V. You don't say Verschlimmbessern. It's Verschlimmbessern. It's just the way it is.
Fremdschämen.
Fremdschämen. Fremd means foreign or external or other. Schämen means to feel shame, to be embarrassed. Not to shame somebody else, but to be ashamed. Fremdschämen means second-hand embarrassment. That means feeling really embarrassed for somebody else. It's like why I can't watch most situation comedies, because their humor just relies on people doing hideously embarrassing, awkward things, and I just cannot. I can't watch it. I have to run out of the room. I have a very strong sense of Fremdschämen, which is weird because many people find me very embarrassing and awkward to be around. I suppose this is how I deal with it, somehow. You'll notice The D in German becomes devoiced at the end of a word, fremd instead of fremd, and it stays devoiced before the sh, Fremdschämen. But it's up to you in English whether you want to bother trying to say Fremdschämen or if you just want to say Fremdschämen. That's your thing. I won't feel bad for you whichever way you do it.
Backpfeifengesicht.
Backpfeifengesicht. This is great. I love this word. This is a necessary word because there are a lot of people who have this. I'm not going to name any names, but I'm sure you can think of some too. So it comes from Back, meaning not back, but cheek, and Pfeifen, meaning whistle or pipe. Literally, it's related to the word pipe. Cheek pipe? No. It actually means slap the cheek. Backpfeifen means to slap somebody on the cheek. I guess the idea is that the air whistles through the fingers or something. And Gesicht means face. So it's a slappable face. Basically, Backpfeifengesicht means a face that needs slapping, a face that you just look at and this face needs slapped. We tend to say back because we think back. In German, it would actually be Back. Pfeifen, in English, we don't normally say pf at the beginning of a word. We'll just say pf, as in Michelle Pfeiffer, not Pfeiffer. By the way, that's the same. Pfeiffer means piper. So she's Michelle Piper, but, or not. And the CH in Gesicht, again, I recommend saying Gesicht instead of Gesicht. So you can say Backpfeifengesicht if you want, but I don't recommend it. I say Backpfeifengesicht. Only really, I say Backpfeifengesicht because I'm that guy. And that's it. 10 great German words that we all really need in English, you know? I'm giving you ideas on how to say them in an English context or how to just say it like a German speaker. It's up to you. I'm not going to show up in your face and tell you you're saying it wrong. But you're here, you're curious, you want to know. There you go. At the very least, you got these words. Have fun.